For me personally, I prefer to do a Houlihan, so I will normally start from Sanctuary, check the piece of heart that Azazaz just found, and then from there, go do Houlihan, and that dumps you right out at Link's house, so you can kind of chain some things. That's not a very common thing runners will do, but, you know, me personally, that's how I like to route it.
So I saw a quick map check, and I saw Pendant at Hera and Crystal at Eastern. I did not catch.
There was another crystal at Desert. It was a 5/6 crystal at Eastern that we saw. And Link's house did have 3 bombs, so ACM's not going to need to farm bombs right now. He's got what he's going to need for Kakariko.
Coming up with a Lumberjack ledge check for Azaz. Just bombs.
And just a big 20 at the race game.
Alright, so both runners are going to make their way to Kakariko. One from the north, one from the south. I'm going to check the library shelf. Just a piece.
And we got bombs in Lostwood, so both runners are going to have bombs. Not going to need to worry about that for the 3 bomb walls that we're going to encounter here in Kakariko.
It's a good thing because they have 1 total rupee between them as they come into Kakariko. And there's Ether.
Yeah, they're going to... You need $100 for the bottle vendor, which you may have to farm, but there's a... We'll see if there's any rupee chests. ACM tried to do a chicken clip, but didn't get the chicken through the door.
So, just a heart container, and he's working his way up to, looks like Blind's Hut. Oh, I'm going to do the well first. Azaz is going to go into Blind's Hut.
Yeah, we'll see both of these, and then probably see a high five as one does the other. There's the lamp.
Well, that's a nice thing to see early. Get that lamp into logic real early there. Oh, and the mirror. That's a big pick.
Interesting. Interesting to get early mirror.
What might that tell you with an early mirror?
So right now, lamp and mirror, if we were to get power gloves soon, that could get you all the way up to Tower of Hera. And so that's kind of why it's intriguing me a bit, because it kind of makes me think, like, okay, Hera's a pendant, but already the seed's starting to give me tools to try to get up to Death Mountain.
Gotcha, and even, you know, we're still talking here in Kakariko, but even if it is a pendant, it could be a big decision point for runners if they decided to check out the coffee break.
Hera's also one of those dungeons that, in terms of finishing it, is pretty straightforward, so even if it is pendant Hera, I do see runners a lot of times decide to go in there and at least check some things.
Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of things are freely available there.
And ACM is going to take a second dip into the well to get those $10 so that he has enough for the bottle vendor. But just expensive bombs.
Alright, so ACM is going to go from Sanctuary. I guess he's going to hit up Lost Woods. And then Asa might start on to South Shore? That seems...
Maybe. I'm a little intrigued. I'm a little intrigued by the fact that ACM decided to save and quit before going to Lost Woods as opposed to just going up there. Normally you would see runners just walk right up there and not do a save and quit and walk all the way from Sanctuary. Oh wait, he never did the Sanctuary chest. That was right. That was why. Never mind, forget I said anything.
Oh yeah, makes sense. So question in the chat from Sarah Zelda. There are 4 more races left for ACM. He has 11 wins, and this is his 12th.
Yeah, this is his 12th race. He's already, as we said before the race got started, ACM has already clinched his bracket at a record of 11-0. Azazaz and Prier are tied at 9 wins right now. Azza has 2 races to go, both against ACM. Prier has 1 race to go against ACM. If Azza wins out, he gets the 2nd spot. If Azza and Prier tie, then there will be a tiebreaker for the 2nd race.
I'm gonna use a handy mirror trick here to take care of all the swamp and the swamp checks in South Shore in one go. Just a big 20.
Very nice sync that we have on both of our runners at this point. Although it gets desynced as Azza decides to pick up the piece of heart.
Hey, I can't blame him. I'd take every piece of heart I can find.
I feel you there.
Oh, mini Moldorm cave with bomb strats. It looks like. See how the runners handle.
and the one mini Trolldorm. Ooh.
Oh, ooh. It's an early deficit.
But what was very quick thinking by ACM was that he knew he was going to die from the fall, so just saved and quit to save the time from the death. And now going to head up to Uncle and probably the escape sequence, maybe.
Yeah, that is a good call.
Which is interesting because there was a whole bunch of nothing in Mini Trolldorm Cave.
It's true. I'm sorry for speaking up.
And we weren't assured a sword, but Uncle has a sword. I was lied to. I thought we weren't going to be assured of a sword today, and we were assured a sword.
We'll just call it vanilla and go on from there.
That works.
So Azazaz, checking out Ice Rod Cave while ACM makes his way into Escape.
And see, earlier you were talking about the early lamp and mirror kind of giving me an indication the seed might be going towards Hera. The thing is, we found 2 of the 3 items that we would need to have to use Aga 1 to get to Dark World. We haven't found any of the ones to avoid that thus far.
Oh boy. We'd need another sword or the cape, would that be right?
That is correct. So Azza is going to show us what's in the back of Sahasrah's closet. See if he decides to dip into Eastern after that.
I would imagine he would go into Eastern, but I mean, up to the runner here. I mean, you can clear out. Oh, there's a fire rod.
And a blue wheel and a blue potion.
That's a really, really nice pickup there in the back of the.
And yeah, Azza is going to make his way to Eastern Palace, which will have everything available but Armos Knights unless we find the bow.
Just a piece of heart in Zelda's cell as Azza makes his way into Eastern. Good call out by the chat here. The bottle gives us access to Sick Kid.
And there's our Power Glove. So now Death Mountain is open.
Yeah, that really kind of gives you some options here, but Asa's going to continue on into Eastern. Makes a lot of sense. You're already...
Is unfortunately going to find our whole boatload of nothing. And Ice Rod. Alright, Turtle Rock's a pendant.
And then how it always works out.
Pretty standard in the randomizer community. If you get early Ice Rod, you don't need to do Turtle Rock. If you find Ice Rod late, it's because Turtle Rock's crystal. The magic mirror's in blind hideout. Thanks, game. We already figured that out.
That's right. I believe there are 17 hint tiles throughout the game, and there's a couple of joke hints throughout there, but you can get anything from the mirror as to just some cash on these hint tiles.
So I don't think we've seen the big key yet in Eastern, so I have to imagine that, it's here. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like one of our last checks here is going to be the big chest.
Which is the map. So out we go.
So there is an item on Armos, Mites.
Yeah, and what's going to be interesting here is ACM's going to get their Power Glove. And Aza's now going to do the back of Escape. If he thinks to do the front and get that sword, that will be good for him. Otherwise, when ACM most likely goes up to Death Mountain, he'll be able to go all the way to Hera and clear Trolldorm, whereas Aza won't be able to without a sword or the hammer.
Well, he did get the key, so... It looks like he... Well, I mean, after Cross here, he may just save and quit, but we'll have to see. Sometimes you gotta stun a rat.
Sometimes you gotta. And more bombs in this dark crossroads. Alright. Aza goes to Sanctuary, so this is for Death Mountain.
That's right, yeah, and it's a key difference there, going up without the sword, like you said.
Now, there's only 2 items in Hera. So it could also help... It could help out if both of those... If we find them before Trolldorm. Because so far it's been pretty... The seed has been pretty... I mean, it's not really linear, because you really could have done this in any order, but the way most runners tend to route this of doing Kakariko, then South Shore, then Eastern, and maybe do escape. Like, you pretty much had to do all of that to get up to Death Mountain. And so, if Asa climbs up here, misses an item, and goes back to escape, gets a sword, and then has to re-climb to go fight Trolldorm, that's going to take up a lot of time.
Gotcha. And where else on the map do we have available? I guess we could check Agina, and I guess go up to Zora.
Yeah, you can get up to Zora with the Power Glove, but you can't do all the other checks around it would be out of logic without the flippers.
So I was going to just drop down here and get the hint. I see a lot of blind checks lately with the hint system.
Yeah, that certainly has been a change in the routing thanks to those hint tiles, but usually they're garbage anyway. Oh, except there is a unique item in the coffee break room.
That is a fantastic hint to find before going up the Tower of Hera.
I stand corrected. Alright, Dark Roll check. Yep. Turtle Rock's a pendant. Myers the red pendant. Thieves Town has a 5/6 crystal.
So interestingly, this either may not be needed, but we could still need the bombos in case. Nope, we have Fire Rod, so we don't need that for Ice Palace either.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so we got Big Key there. Yep, and ACM is making his way. Shield and Mimic Cave, so don't need to worry about that.
Interesting. Asa doesn't have a weapon, really, so he's going to choose to go upstairs before checking the coffee break?
He doesn't have the key, he can't.
Oh, you're right. Doesn't have the small key. Thank you.
Yep. And since he doesn't have a weapon, with the beetles in this room, if you fall, it doesn't reset the room, which is why he basically threw 2 pots at 2 of them, and then fell and then reset the pots. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty big moment here, because, again, Asa hasn't been to the front of escape. We have a vanilla uncle. There's a small key, so we can at least get to the second item. Powder is at the Pyramid Fairy. But if there's not an item in the big chest, then the second item is on Trolldorm, and that may cost Asa a lot of time to have to go back to escape and then re-climb just to fight Trolldorm. And the item's on Trolldorm.
Yeah, you called it, man.
We know from a hint the coffee break room has one. Has a unique item, so progression may be in the basement still.
Hammer would definitely break this seed wide open. What other unique items are we probably expecting here in coffee break? Oh, you're too mean. Calling for the bug net.
Well, we're about to find out what it is. Alright, moment of truth. Basement of Hera is... the hammer!
Hey.
Oh!
That's a good pickup. Need the Moon Pearl, and then we have Dark World access.
And Azza is choosing not to reclimb to fight Trolldorm, instead heading for Spiral Cave and Paradox Cave.
That's a huge save for Azza. I mean, obviously it's nice to have that sword at some point in the future, but having the hammer now, that's a real clutch pickup for him. So you said you were talking with Azza earlier. Before the race, I chatted with him too, and he admitted that ACM was definitely a tough out. You think that he's skipping Moldorm as a bit of a gamble here to get him some more time?
It's possible. I mean, you're essentially sinking a little bit of time to do one check, as opposed to the 8 locations that are over here. Although Azza does have to be careful with only half a heart right now. And ACM with that fighter sword is going to activate Hyper Trolldorm here. Ooh. Extending the sword. Trolled again.
Think Dorm.
Alright, $300 in Paradox Cave, so that will help with Zora money. Especially if we don't find anything, because Zora is still in Logic.
Alright, Paradox Cave checks here. Bombs in a heart container. Big 20, 10 arrows, and red goo. So, not the most profitable checks here for Azza.
So we've got Trolldorm left, we've got Agina, and we've got Zora. And just a big 20 on Trolldorm, so Azza's fine not going back for Trolldorm. Alright.
So, every little second you can pick up. If he feels like he doesn't have to go back to Moldorm, that's some time he can check off of his list there.
And now ACM's about to get the hammer. Oh yeah, no, we got those bottles, but no one checked Sick Kid yet.
Yeah, we haven't actually turned our bottle in.
Okay, so that's actually 3, so we have 3 locations left where we have to find some sort of progression.
Oh, and if it's Master Sword or Cape, oh boy.
The thing is, with us being only a Moon Pearl away from Dark World access, I personally, like, if I found Master Sword, if I had Master Sword and there were still checks to be done, part of me would want to try to avoid Aga at all costs. I don't know. I would be kind of, I mean, you hear the hesitation in my voice. Like, it would be a tough call.
That's right. Yeah, it could be another chance for Azza to maybe do a bit of a gamble there. But we don't know what the progression is going to be, so we'll just have to see when it comes. I would imagine that Zora would be on the priority list, since you can fake flipper and get a couple more items with the hobo.
You do have to be careful with fake flippering, though, because the Moon Pearl, if you do a fake flipper from Lake Hylia, in order to do a water walk to check Waterfall of Wishing Cave, you need the Moon Pearl essentially to enable the water walk from walking out of the waterfall cave. So it's a good basically a fake flipper right now would only help you check hobo.
Yep, gotcha. Man. So if you do find that moon pearl, you just go straight to Dark World, right? You don't worry with fake flippering at this moment.
Exactly. Once you find the moon pearl, you have so much opened up in the Dark World that you would head there. Oh, I forgot. Azza didn't pay off the bottle vendor because they didn't have the cash at the time.
So he is a bit further away from Zora than we first thought.
Gets a little bit of it back from the sick kid.
The sick kid was holding the rebate coupon. Alright, looks like Agina. Well, it could be either still.
Going left would indicate Agina.
ACM falling right behind Sick Kid.
NYDN, Zora is in logic with the gloves. We can get there. It's a long walk, but we can get there. And we may have to do that long walk if Agina doesn't give us anything here.
Well, I'd still expect him to fake flipper, even if he doesn't go into Waterfall Fairy, right?
But there's the Moon Pearl. That's
There it
Dark
is.
World access.
Alright, well, we have Dark World access, so we'll see how Azza approaches that. Looks like he might be headed straight to Hype Cave.
Yeah. Pretty much 27 minutes in, and we're going to be pretty much even going into Dark World.
Yeah, it does feel like we've been gated right to that Moon Pearl at Agina, and we're going to see how the seed opens up from here. But we are kind of, like you said, almost 0.0 again.
Although ACM just got a big piece of information. The hook shot is on the desert ledge. Alright, we got silver arrows, 50 bucks, and a master sword. So, pretty solid meh cave.
Oh, I mean, I'd rate that at least a 5.
So, Lacactoire is saying, how are they tied when ACM died and killed Trolldorm? I wasn't really saying that they're tied. It's more kind of like, basically because they had to do all this, they've kind of done all the same checks. We're pretty much at even. ACM did fall at Mini Trolldorm Cave and on his last heart and took a death. So that's kind of how, you know, he kind of evened out. Azza also didn't kill Trolldorm.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make about, oh, there's the book. Oh, wow. So Azza does not have that same information that ACM does.
And we have the means to go get the hook shot now.
So I'm going to be curious if ACM is going to dip out prioritizing that hook shot. I mean, there's a lot of items that open up with hook shot. Or if he will continue his routing up through Village of Outcast.
And the thing is, Desert is a crystal and Mire is a pendant. So, it is certainly a strategy. I don't know if it's necessarily the best strategy, but knowing that the hook shot is there, knowing you have the means to full clear Desert as a crystal, although there is the boots lock part of that.
Yeah, that is true.
And now ACM is doing his map check.
And it looks like both Fire Runners are going to keep on their current path and head up to the Village of Outcasts, where there are several checks between Skull Woods, Village of Outcasts itself, and Thieves Town.
And
are
actually,
you a... oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and actually with that Fire Rod, Skullwoods is also full clearable. But anyway, I cut you off.
No, yeah, I was just going to ask you, are you a... do you like to go into Skull Woods first or Thieves Town first?
I usually do Skullwoods first. But, I mean, again, that's more of a preference than it is a, like... Personally, for me, like, I like to try to route stuff as efficiently as possible. So normally what I'll do is I'll go from the portal, go to Skullwoods, do all that stuff, and then basically start like a long U around the Dark World, hitting Thieves Town, then hitting Hype Cave, then hitting the pod area.
So I do stand corrected, because ACM is going to go prioritize that hook shot, and he's going to check Bombo's tablet first. Just a big 20. I think I like this from ACM. The hookshot is a pretty powerful item when you consider how much, how much it opens up for you.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, though, it really is just kind of a... You could use it as kind of a speed booster to basically like hook onto things to go faster. Because we've already been to the east side of Death Mountain, so we don't need it for that. Hookshot Cave, blocked by Titan's Mitts. Swamp, speaking of...
Speaking of... Well, that makes things interesting, and Desert is boots locked.
Some caches in Ganon's Tower. Thanks, game. I probably could have figured that out on my own.
So ACM is getting set up with the Dark Death Mountain care package. I wonder if he follows the breadcrumbs and goes back, or if he's gonna make some more traditional checks in Thieves Town and Skullwoods and all that area.
Nope, he's heading for Village of Outcasts. And as you're probably going to see here from ACM, or well, he didn't do it yet, but he's got the hook shot out where you can hook onto the trees and that will pull you faster than you can walk.
Well, not a very useful hint tile there in Thieves Town, but us is going to go ahead and bomb the floor. Go on down and fight blind.
So we're honestly pretty close to go mode at this point. We've got bow. For certain, we need bow, boots, flippers, and then we may need Canis Samaria based on where the GT big key is in the basement. If it's on the right side in those either the tile room or the 4 checks, then you would need the Canis Samaria to open the door. But it is possible that we're only 3 items away from go mode already.
Oh, it kind of sneaks up there, doesn't it? You know, considering how front-loaded the seat is, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a hidden item. Might elude our runners for a little bit. It seems to be that you get a little bit gated up front and it opens up in the back, or the vice versa there.
Although that said, like, we've dipped Eastern. You could get into Pod, but you can't finish it without the bow. Swamp you can't even get in. Skullwoods we haven't checked. Ice Palace, technically you need the flippers, but you could fake flipper there. So that said, like, we're really close, but the items that we have missing are gating completion of a lot of the dungeons.
Now, Blind tried to catch Fog, but he missed. And we're going to see see how well Asa scripts this fight out. Looked good to me.
Very nicely done. Big 20 for your troubles, and the first crystal of the game, 36 minutes in.
So, like you're saying, there's a lot of dominoes to fall here, because one of those items, you know, just getting any of those items can lead to clearing out 1 or more dungeons.
Yeah, one thing that, of course, chat being itself is trying to put the bow in the most trolliest place, and we have some calls for the pedestal, of course. We have some calls for a pendant dungeon, but then Malagord pointed out that if the bow was in a pendant dungeon, that pretty much would put, since we've already done Hera, that would put Canis Samaria as required to get into Mire or Turtle Rock. So honestly, like, if I saw Canis Samaria soon, I might be starting to think about doing a play on Dark Death Mountain and maybe try Turtle Rock if we start to run out of dungeons to check.
Okay, interesting. I like following that train of logic from you there. All right. So Aza's in Skull Woods. Just a compass in the room behind the Gibdos. Yep, and with that book, would you go ahead and check Ped just for the knowledge?
Yeah. Although the way I run Randomizer, I like to know as much information as I can. So I will do it for certain, and I think that's what Aza's pulling out the mirror for.
I think he may have been playing with our viewers a little bit there. He mirrored out and back in.
Yeah, the thing, Lin, our restreamer, was pointing out in chat that they wouldn't even think about Ped before getting Flute, though. I understand that thing. Like, for me, when I run, I try to be as efficient as I can in my routing. So, for me, having the mirror in the book here, and knowing that I'm about to finish Mothula and won't have a reason to come back here other than the pedestal, I would prefer to do that check and know, rather than, you know, having, if it comes down to it may be on the pedestal, that now I then have to make a long trek to go check it.
And as you're explaining, we just witnessed Aza with a very nice kill on Mothula.
And just a map.
But I think he's doing something that I like a lot. He's working from back to front with Skullwoods. I like that call a lot.
Yeah, you see a lot of runners these days with Skullwoods start as far back as they can and then work their way up to the front. Because if you do it the way the game intended, then you have a longer route running back. You know, and to my point about checking the pedestal, you know, some people in chat are saying they would, some people they say they wouldn't. And that's the thing with Randomizer, is that this is like, a lot of these things are, you know, this is my preference. This isn't like, this is for certain the thing you must do. It's, you're making gambles and risks on it. And Azza is going to check that pedestal while he's here.
All right. We hype or not? Just couch Kaz. Alas, Pet is dead.
And again, like, to you know, the discussion about would you have checked there, would you not? Again, this is totally my preference. I'm not saying, like, this is the absolute right way to run it, because I also suck at this game. But, see, for me, I'm all about information. I want to know. And so if I'm getting to that point where I'm down to checking pendant dungeons, trying to find the last item, I prefer, if I can know what's on the pedestal, I want to know, because I want to know then, okay, am I just checking pendant dungeons for items, or do I need the pendants themselves?
Oz is hunting around for the big key. Well, ACM... Did Ozza not check the big chest?
I think we found both items.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, those arrows there.
And with this discussion about the Cane of Samaria, Lin is also reminding us, since we only need the cane for pendant dungeons, it's entirely possible that cane could be sitting in Ganon's tower itself.
So coming up on mirror check here for Ozza here at Graveyard Ledge, while ACM makes Mothula a very clean fight for him.
ACM is also going to get his knowledge that the couch cache is on the pedestal.
Alright, so where to next?
Pod, probably.
Think you might swing around to Pyramid and Catfish?
Mm-hmm.
Looks, though, that Ozza is going to get his hook shot, which is going to be huge for him as well. And his mitts, because they were in Desert Palace.
Well, we'll see if he decides to continue on. Well, I mean, if he's going here to check Bombo's tablet, he's going into Desert, so he will get mitts. And hopefully he'll remember to check Desert Ledge. And yeah, he's going to see the hook shot here.
Yep, he hadn't checked it before, but now, that's a... He'll say, yeah, I'll go on into Desert Palace. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, ACM is going to take Jeremiah home So we'll do the smith chain here.
Yep, gonna get a couple new checks with the hammer pegs and the smiths. See what that holds for us.
And we got a cape.
And if they've checked bumper ledge, I didn't see it, so it could be another check.
It was just 10 arrows.
Okay, so Ozza did check it, but ACM has not.
And that also means that Spike Cave will now be in logic. And vanilla tempered sword from the swordsmiths today.
So 2 vanilla sword locations. As boing boing boing, Ozza picks up his hook shot, saves and quits, and I wonder where he's headed off to next. ACM's going to pick up the purple chest and go on a bit of a tour with it.
Yeah, he's probably going to do... If he's going this way, he's going to check Bumper Cave. And then I imagine probably a save and quit, and then go turn in the lunchbox.
And Ozza is going to go straight to Dark Death Mountain. Well, he is going to go check out his hookshot locations.
Yeah, he's going to open the Turtle Rock portal. And then, oh, I forgot ACM hasn't also done Graveyard Ledge.
And we can see another check with him, because he has mitts right here at King's Tomb.
But you don't have the boots to open King's Tomb.
Oh, it doesn't have the boots. Gosh. My first commentary, folks. Be easy on me.
Hey, you're doing fine. It just... believe me, it's a lot of things you gotta remember, and I even screw up sometimes. Alright, so we need ether... Well, we got ether for Turtle Rock, so Azla is gonna go ahead and open it up.
Now, there is a hint just inside the doorway, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pops his head in for just a quick second.
And that's what he does. Something sharp is in Hype Cave. Gee, thanks. We already got it.
Alright, so Oz is in Super Bunny, and ACM's opening his chest to find 10 bombs, 10 arrows for Ozza, and Bloopy.
And ACM also going to make a play for Dark Death Mountain.
ACM just squeaks past that dead rock while Ozza finds Quake.
But nothing much else.
Oh, is Ozza gonna go finish Hera? Maybe this is a tablet. Oh, and just a red meringue there for Ozza on either tablet. So he is gonna try spike.
Yep, certainly looks like that's what he's doing.
And I feel like our options are kind of running short again here, Jax. Now what?
Pod. Nothing in Spike Cave. Yeah, we're boots locked out of Desert. We've been through Eastern. We can't get to Armos Knights. We know there's an item there. Hera is done. Swamp we can't get in without the flippers. We've finished Skullwoods and Thieves Town. And we've seen the Smith Chain. It's Pod, Pyramid, Catfish, Zora.
All right, we'll be looking for which runner is going to make which call and see how they either converge or diverge. Alright, so Azaz is gonna do Smiths into Purple Chest, it looks like, while ACM saves and quits out of Spike Cave and is heading towards his house. This might be the play over to Pod.
You know, given the situation that we're currently in and the items we have, I actually might think about sequence breaking into Ice Palace.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Because, so the three key items we're looking for right now is the bow, the boots, and the flippers. In terms of finishing Ice Palace, it's just the flippers. And we can fake flipper in there, we can get around it. And if there was a chance that, like, the logic were to set you up to do flippers and Pod to get bow in Ice Palace, I might be making a gamble here to see, like, I would be making a gamble in the case that the seed tried to make you do like a forced double dip of Pod, because right now we can clear Ice Palace no problem.
Gotcha, like flippers and Pod and then bow and Ice Palace.
But ACM is going to go by the logic and head to Pod. Now, the one thing with that is that it is a risk. You know, you're making a gamble that the logic is going a certain way and that you're trying to see if there's a way that you can route it better. But, again, your mileage may vary on that.
It's true, and something to consider that if flippers are your go mode item, then a go mode Ice Palace is much quicker than scouring all the chests there.
Alright, so we did get the small keys, so we are not bow locked out of Pod. An ACM? Oh, wait. With the big key being there, we're locked out. We didn't get a second key, so we can't go any further.
Alright, so that should... I'm gonna get another quick check here from Azza as he goes up to Pyramid. ACM did not route this in with his play over to Palace of Darkness, and we see 300 rupees.
More cash.
Would have been nicer earlier.
So we're pretty much down to Catfish and Zora at this point, right?
That looks about right, and Ozza does have, both of our runners have the mirror, so we can route that in together. So, looks like one of these fish is going to have good luck for us. Oh, this feels like Boots to me, to be honest. And then gonna take you right to Desert, but we'll just have to see.
Could also be a fetch quest. But it's French vanilla flippers, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, it's the wrong type of shoes. Ah, I'm so close. So that's a whole other kettle of fish now. We got flippers. Oh.
So Swamp Palace is open, Ice Palace is open.
Yep. Let's see how they handle getting flippers here. Would you go to Ice Palace or Swamp Palace first?
Swamp, there's more items. I know everyone hates Swamp, but I would go to Swamp.
I think I agree with you. Just gotta go for the. Gotta go for that density.
Mm-hmm. All right. As always, there once was a fish named Zora who gives you flippers in vanilla. In Rando, he sucks for 500 bucks. We did this stupid trick for a piece of heart.
Well, we got scammed, so we're gonna go on and see what we can make out of these flippers now.
And looks like Azza is making the play for Swamp.
Alright, I like it. From everything that we talked about with him earlier, he seems to think that he's going to need to take a couple of risks and see what he can do to gain every second over ACM here. So I like the play.
Sarah Zelda asking, can Bo be a Pyramid Fairy? No, Eastern is the other 5/6 crystal. And we also, and Nustria also reminding me that we did get a hint about it. It's powder's the only thing we would care about in there.
Yeah, cash in the other chest.
Oh! All right, these hits have been bad until now. The boots are in Turtle Rock.
Wouldn't you know it? Pendant TR holding progression again.
And that means we are going to have to find the Cane of Samaria.
Oh man, so now where do you find the cane? Oh gosh.
I don't know, but I mean, the thing is, we're still pretty much... All the flippers really did was open up Swamp and Ice. So if we don't find any progression in Swamp, you're going to Ice next regardless.
Yep, seems fair. ACM is going to follow Ozza into Swamp here. Man, just look at our time here. We're an hour in. Only have 2 crystals completed. Man, this is kind of dragging us out here, Jax.
It is, but the thing is, so here's the thing. We're bow locked out of pod, so the only time you're going back in there is when you've got the bow and you're ready to finish it. And we have the big key. So if you're in go mode, you can just go mode pod. We're about to get 2 crystal dungeons finished. So yeah, we're an hour in, but we're at the point right now where once we... Basically, the 2 items we're looking for at this point is the Cane of Samaria and the bow. We find those 2. We find either of those 2, this seed opens up. Should also point out that MonkeyTron12 did give us a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much.
Yep, and we have picked up Compass. I don't think we've seen the map yet. Is that correct?
I don't think so. There's Bombos and $50.
There's the net. So the wrong unique item we were looking for.
We have seen Pedestal. It is just Couch Cash.
Yeah, we had Book and Mirror as we were at Skullwood, so they checked Pedestal early on.
And with these with the Tempered Sword cutting through these puffballs, it's going to be easy squeezy.
Oh gosh, I wish I could kill Argus so fast.
Just like that. 2 Fire Rod shots and a Tempered Sword spin. Argus is down. Crystal number 3.
Alright, so there's only 1 item left side. What do you do?
Azza's gonna risk it and not check left.
Gotta say, I respect that decision. We'll have to see if it pays off or not, but it's the one you gotta make if that's what you feel you gotta do.
Again, to point out for those that may have just joined us, ACM has clinched his group's first bracket spot. He's at 11-0. Azazaz and Prier are tied at 9 wins. Azza has 2 races against ACM. Prier has 1 race against ACM. Azza is running for his life right now. If he wins both, he will get clinch the 2nd spot. But if he ties with Prier, then they're going to be in a tiebreaker runoff. And ACM is going back in.
All right, so could be a bit more time saved, but we'll just have to see what is on the west side of Swamp.
Depending on what we find in Ice Palace, if we don't find anything in Ice, that would have to force Azza back to left side Swamp.
So really, you'd lose the time walking back over there, but I guess it wouldn't be too much of a time loss. You might give back all the time you've gained, though, by skipping out on the rest of Hera.
Yeah, that's the thing. Azza didn't kill Trolldorm. The hammer was the item the hint told us was the unique item the hint told us was in Tower of Hera. And he's skipping the 1 item in the left side Swamp. So Trolldorm didn't have anything important. The hammer was in the basement. So he's already made 1 time save. Heart containers on Sahasrahla. So, Azza is making gambles right now. The first one paid off. We're about to see if the second one does.
Sarah Zelda, yes, game 3 is picked by a bot with 2 vetoes. Yeah, again, if you're just joining us, this is race number 2. So Azza chose these modes to try and, you know, bring a little variance to the table.
All right, let's see what this is. All right. Azza has dodged 2 bullets so far.
Paying off thus far. Let's see how far he pushes it.
There's the D.
Oh, that is the bow. All right. So Azza picks up the bow here in Ice Palace, while ACM just confidently trudges on into IP. And Azza's going to check the hint up here. It's a joke hint. And someone had brought it up, but I don't think either of our runners have checked Hobo. Is that correct?
That is correct. So honestly, the way I would route this is I would... I would say I would immediately mirror and swim to Hobo, but the thing is, you would need to swim from Dark World, because there's a you can get out of the water from Dark World, but not Light World. So I don't know. Yeah.
Gotcha, understood.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, even saving and quitting and going to Link's house, you're still in the same spot. So yeah, you would mirror out. Oh wait, no. Forget. I'm wobbling back and forth on this because I'm remembering the fact that yeah, you could mirror back to Light World, but then you can't mirror back to Dark World. Either way, you're basically gonna have to do a Light World swim to Hobo, and then try to make your way to Pod.
Alright, both of our runners are making their way through Ice Palace. I guess, technically by the logic, this could also be a sequence break if Kane was needed. I'm honestly not sure about the Ice Palace logic, but we may have already passed that point.
No. See, the thing is that, well, there's Kane,
right.
So, alright, 1 hour, 7 minutes, 48 seconds as is in go mode.
Alright, man, he needs to get on into Cold Stare, and then into Turtle Rock, pick up his boots, and we'll be going.
So yeah, now you're not even checking Hobo. From the hint, we know Turtle Rock has the boots, so you're basically going to finish Cold Stare. You're going to combo Eastern and... would you combo Eastern Pod, or would you go right for Turtle Rock? You're going to combo Eastern Pod, then you got to go up to Turtle Rock, find the boots. Once you find them, you nope out, get to Desert, and then get to the Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, you're gonna have to climb twice anyway, so getting the boots first might be like a minimal time save.
Yeah, and then you could run, and then that would allow you to run through Eastern and Pod.
And yes, I agree. That was a perfect cold. That was great. Picks up half magic as a reward. I think he's gonna head on up to Turtle Rock, but let's see.
He does.
All right, so Asa does have a few seconds lead here with ACM, so it's going to come down to some execution. Has he built up a nice buffer for himself? And it obviously could come down to that big key guessing game, Ganon's Tower.
But yeah, you're basically going into Turtle Rock. As soon as you find the boots, you're out. And then you just got to do Eastern Pod and Desert. And the thing is, Azazaz is a little bit ahead. Azazaz is a little bit ahead of ACM, but at this point, it's all down to execution.
Yeah, and we know that ACM is a top runner in regular NMG Link to the Past, so it's gonna be. I wonder if Azazaz is feeling any pressure here.
From talking with him before the race started, he is. He knows how good ACM is. The fact that he's undefeated in his group, and his 2 remaining races are against ACM. So if Azza wants any chance of getting into the bracket stage, he has to win against ACM.
All right, ACM is dropping down to Cold Stare now, I believe, as Azza checks the Fire Rod chests here in T-Rock. All right, he's going to go deeper as ACM fights Cold Stare.
Okay, so since we've already found 2 keys and the big key, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think that means there can be an item in the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to chat on that one. I am not sure.
Brian, we found your cane. Please come to the Lost and Found in Turtle Rock to claim it.
And I guess as I was saying that, obviously Azza can't see where ACM is, but he does know that his calls have generally worked out. And I guess when you're running this, you kind of have to assume worst case scenario that your opponent is going to make just about the same calls as you. So I do think that he feels him breathing down his neck here. If not, he thinks he's behind. There'd be no reason to really think that you're behind, but you just never can tell what a runner's thinking before we get him in here for an interview.
Yeah. I mean, I would say... Hold on, let's check this first. The one thing, having run some races before, is that, we were at that point earlier in the Light World where basically we had to check everything in order to get Dark World access. So you can look at that one of 2 ways. You can look at it as, well, I had to do everything as my opponent, which assumes my opponent did. But you could also look at it as, I made all the wrong mistakes and my opponent routed it perfectly. So it really just all depends on how you choose to look at it.
It's true.
Something sharp as in Hype Cave. Didn't we have that already? Oh, wait, yeah. Azza, check that. My bad. We did also see a hint that there was money in Mimic. There was... I think it was money, but whatever it was something we don't need to pick up in Mimic Cave.
Yeah, but the only thing you'd stop for there might be Gold Sword, maybe.
All right, so we got Laser Bridge or Trinex.
And I mean, the focus has kind of been on Ozza here for quite a bit, just because I mean, he is slightly ahead. But ACM, besides that one early death in Mini Moldorm, he has really ran a pretty clean race thus far. He's made a couple extra checks, and he is not too far behind. All right, here or... Oh, there's the boots.
There. All right.
Go, go, go.
I have to say that was very, such a tease from the seed. We get Fire Rod and Ice Rod in Eastern Palace, which makes us think that, it is Turtle Rock Pendant, which it is. And then we do have to go into Turtle Rock, and then it's right before Trinex.
Alright, Azza's gonna wisely set up the mirror play so he can combo Eastern and Pod.
And the thing is, with finding the big key already in Pod, you just have to go to the Bowlock side and go right to Helmasaur. Although, no, actually we need, yes, because the thing is, okay, let me restart that. Yes, you still have to do that, because of the fact that we didn't find another small key to get us to the back. That means that the keys are going to be on the Bowlock side to get you to the back, but you can use them to go right to Helmasaur.
Ooh, and actually, Azza has not been into Pod yet, so is that gonna play into any of his checks here, or is he gonna find the big key at the same time that ACM did?
All right, well, he's gonna do Eastern first. Thing is, it was in the arena in the basement. Possibly.
Yeah, that could be something to look out for. Yep.
I mean, I would think you would. The way most runners route it, I would think you would do Bowlock side first. Most runners, most of the more advanced runners, the way I've seen them run is they'll do first chest. This is assuming they have the means to full clear Pod. They'll do first chest, Bowlock side, and then probably do like the bridge and the arena, and then, you know, go from there. So possibly, but I'm not as familiar with how Azza tends to run Pod to know.
Alright, well, after Armos Knights, it'll be the moment of truth here. See if he can keep rolling with his bit of a time gain on ACM.
Yeah, someone, I forget who, someone pointed out early on, or timed it, and there was about a 3-minute difference between Azza and ACM. And as people have kind of been keeping track in chat, that 3-minute lead has kind of been keeping.
Well, that's good news for him, but we all know the quality of the runners here, so any mistake could be punished pretty hard.
All right, so that's crystal number 5 for Azza. Yeah, 3 minutes as Dreams Like Desert are just pointing out in chat. Execution can do a lot to this, because Azza has a 3-minute lead, you take a unfortunate death or a Ganon fall or a Trolldorm 2 fall, like, this race is not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, Clown Kefka, you bring up a good point, what we were talking about earlier. He already has the big key. He being ACM.
Alright, so Azza doesn't find a key here. That means he is going to have to drop down to the arena and get the big key.
Yep, so I think you fall. I mean, I guess that's just how you have to clear pod, so wasn't too much of a worry.
Right. So now it's gonna. So the one thing you have to keep in mind here, though, is now it's gonna look like they're both neck and neck. But Azza did Eastern first before doing pod. ACM is gonna have to mirror out and then do Eastern. And actually, when you were asking me about how you would have routed pod, I should have thought about that. That the fact that with only the one key, you were forced to go this way no matter what.
Yeah, and there were two keys and the... Well, no, there was just one key in the big. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I was just double checking there.
And Malagord, who is a much better runner than I am, he says, you know, that's why you would take the route, because you have, as you saw Azza do, he just had to use that portal and get right to his way to the Bowlock side.
All right, Jax, tell me about King Helmasaur here.
What about him?
I believe he takes 17 hammer hits. Is that correct?
I think that's right.
Then we got Silver Arrow, so he ought to be mincemeat after that.
Yep, pretty straightforward. All right, Helmasaur down.
That's 6.
All right, so Azza just has to go to Desert, and that'll be crystal number 7.
Daniel Oberon, you can blow it off with the bombs, so you might be right that you could theoretically bomb and hammer at the same time.
Yeah, but it's the only thing there is that it's more erratic. Most runners do the hammer because, yeah, it's 17 and it does take a bit of time, but it's a lot more consistent. Whereas with bombs, it's all dependent on how Helmasaur moves.
Great point by the chat. Menu time might negate any time you gain.
In Randomizer, like if you have Helmasaur like up in Hera, you know, that's when you're probably better off doing bombs, because then you have the risk of getting trolled by Helmasaur.
Alright, ACM's gonna finish up Eastern Palace while Ozza makes his way to the back of Desert. Gotta grab that big key first, though.
Yep. And then just gonna go straight for Lamulus. Man, this seed has gone fast.
Yeah, it was only 25 minutes ago that I was making a comment about 2 crystals in an hour, and here we are. It's really been, and we found go mode pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, we haven't even really had a moment to take a breath and, remind people that of the great race that Azaz and ACMLN are putting on for us. So please be sure to give both of them follows on Twitch, because they certainly are deserving it.
One, two, three.
3 strikes.
Down goes Limbless.
Down he goes. All right. So that is crystal number 7. So there are 22 locations where that Ganon's Tower big key can be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. If you want to play in our guessing game, you need to guess a number between 1 and 22. And since we're on the ALTTP Randomizer channel, that means you don't even have to subscribe or donate bits to get on the leaderboard. So, Hagmania, what you guess?
Oh, I'm gonna guess right side. So I'm gonna guess 4. I think Azam makes a play over to the right side first if he gets that key, and I'm gonna say 4. What about you, Jax?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say 15. Which usually kind of ends up in Ice Armos room. I kind of don't want it to come down to a left-right side.
Yeah, that is a good call. Would like to see both these runners have to face, pretty much the same variance here that we are at Ganon's Tower now. We'll be sure to get a time check here on Azaz as he opens up Ganon's Tower and compare one last time with ACM. But I do believe that 3 minutes has been holding. He's been performing when he needs it.
Yeah, Chad has been kind of keeping an eye on the time and has been keeping pretty consistent with it. But if final chance to get some guesses in before we close it up as Azza heads in. All right, guesses are officially closed.
All right, number 1. Small key, so he can continue right if he wants.
And number 2 is $300, and he is going to keep going right. All right, ACM has crystal number 7, so he's going to be making his way to Ganon's Tower shortly. Depending on how Ganon's Tower plays out, this is going to be close.
Oh, yes, it will. I can already see it playing out where they are just moments behind heading up to the gauntlet. But we'll have to see. Number 3 is the map.
4
Couple
and
of big
5,
20s.
and a big 50.
Well, I'm out. That was 6.
Azza is going to mirror and go left. So that was 6. Here's 7. Small key.
He's going to go ahead and pick that up so he has enough keys for the top as well.
All right, number 8, 10 arrows, 9, $20, 10. Another 20, 11. Another 20.
All right, number 12 is going to be, I guess is it normally the map room?
I don't know if the map is in there. We just call it the double fire bar room. But number 12. There it is.
All right, if you guess 12, you are our winner. As Azza, I think he's got to be feeling pretty good, but I know he thinks that he needs every second he can get.
Nauseous001 was the winner of the Big Key guessing game by guessing 12 and has scored 33 points on the ALTTPR GT Big Key leaderboard. Congratulations.
ACM is going to pick up a little bit of time here, though. He is not going to continue right. He's going to head left after the first two chests. So, according to chat, ACM gained about 20-30 seconds there from all the go mode dungeons. So, I mean, Azza still has to keep with good play and execution as he goes through the gauntlet and into Aga 2 and Ganon.
And he entered at 131.23. From here, the randomization is pretty much over. You got Tempered Sword, you got Silver Arrows, Blue Mail, you've got some potions, you're good. You just got to execute your way through the rest of this. ACM has the big key.
Oh, this is tightening up, Jax.
You do not want to take a death now. You're better off using the Fire Rod with the Style Kids, because they just die immediately.
I think someone's been practicing their land molest, because that was two perfect three-strike kills from Azza.
Still satisfying, even after watching Randomizer so many times, to see runners just mow down those Skull Wiz robes. Alright, ACM enters at 132.59. So about a minute 40 difference between them right now.
Yep, he's about cut his deficit in half between go mode dungeons and going left on the big key.
And you have two keys, so you don't need to worry about the mini Helmasaur. You just gotta go through and make your way to Trolldorm 2. Gonna get the magic refill here, so he's gonna be pretty full on health and magic from here. Just has to be careful with Trolldorm 2. Swing and a spin and a Trolldorm's a dead.
So, looks like it's going to be 134 even as he hook shots across after Moldorm 2. ACM going to give some satisfaction here as well.
Alright. Azza enters the Geometry Wars at 134.20.
There's a double.
Very nice. Another. And
that's the triple double.
Doubles. Very nicely done for Azazaz, and it is time for the big pig.
This is Az's race to lose, But you still can lose it in the Ganon fight.
Yeah, you fall to Ganon right now with that minute 40 is going to evaporate. So a Tempered Sword, you got 12 sword slashes for phase 1 and for phase 2.
Got him in a nice spot.
And he gets through phase 1 quickly, and I imagine he'll get through phase 2 as well. Just has to be careful on health. And did not get through phase 2 in one go. He's going to have to do a second cycle. That should be enough, though. Especially if he's pulling out the cape.
That was 135.50 for ACM at AGA 2.
Now, these teleport patterns are going to be the same for both runners. It's only if one were to take a Ganon fall where it would switch.
Or if you were to miss a swing, then you'd be off pannered from your opponent as well.
True. Alright. Did we find the arrows in the Dark World? Yep. Here's one in your face.
Alright, need 3 more.
As of being careful. Did not get the torch glitch, but with half magic, he'll be fine. That's 2.
ACM dropping into the Ganon fight.
That's 3. One more and Azza has it. That'll do it.
Oh, what a clutch race from Azazaz. So long as we don't fall on the bridge here, he needed this win, and he pulled it off. Great job by Azazaz. Here we have ACM finishing up.
And with that door, Azazaz finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 9 seconds. Spam those GGs in chat.
Wow, this is a good race, Jax.
Absolutely. That was very intense.
And you can see ACM has, he has closed the gap. His execution is, just the tippy-top tier of runners.
Alright, ACM is done as well. Walks through the door and finishes with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 13 seconds. GG's to ACM.
And GG to both runners.
Alright, so ACM has said that he is going to join us in chat, won't be in here for a voice interview, but we do have Azazaz, GG.
GG. Well, thank you.
As your heart.
Well.
Sorry, go ahead, I cut you off.
Yeah, it kinda lagged a little bit there. So yeah, I needed a perfect race in order to stand a chance here. I think I managed to pull off the base race so far for me in the tournament, and still it was this close.
I know, it was. You couldn't have done that any better.
Yeah, it was a great race, Azazaz.
Yeah, but still, I needed every gamble I made. I needed, that skipping Moldorm or left side swamp and whatever else I skipped. I needed all of that in order to get away with this one. So,
well, that's why you make those plays, and you performed in the clutch. I mean, what did you think going up to Ganon's tower? Did you think you were close? Did you think you were behind? Did you think you were ahead?
I honestly couldn't know at that point because against practically any other runner, I would have felt pretty confident at that point. But I mean, against ACM, you cannot you cannot know for sure. Maybe he was very far ahead. And yeah, I was kind of nervous all throughout Ganon's Tower because I started off with the right side, kind of knowing that ACM doesn't do that. So when I didn't find the key there, it just wasn't good for my nerves. And then the gauntlet was bad, the Ganon fight was bad, so I was expecting him to dot done at any point.
One thing that was interesting, the way this race played out with the vanilla sword, is we saw ACM pick up that sword early, and I was saying that, you know, that could swing the race depending on if Trolldorm had an item. And when you got the hint that there was an item in Hera, how nervous were you going in there knowing you didn't have a hammer or a sword to get to be able to kill Trolldorm if you needed to?
Well, the hint was there was an item fire locked in Hera, so my only fear was the Smokey being on Moldorm. But yeah, at that point, I already decided that if I could pick up that unique item in the basement, I wouldn't go to kill Moldorm. That would be the first gamble because, I mean, climbing up the tower again was a time investment. I didn't think I had the luxury of making.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing was, you basically left two items. You left the item on Trolldorm, which was nothing, and then there was an item in Left Side Swamp that ACM also checked, which was, again, nothing. So both of those gambles of leaving one item played out for both of them.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that I absolutely needed both of those gambles in the end.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you knew Hookshot was on Desert Ledge until you went there to the second time. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. I didn't check it out the first time.
Now, did you feel that was a point where, like, oh no, and maybe he knows about the Hookshot earlier?
Not really, because I think, between the point where I went to Agnescape to pick up the pearl and the point where I returned there for the hookshot, I don't really think I needed the hookshot for anything that I made in between those points.
Yeah, that's kind of how it played out. It was one of those things that, yeah, it would help for speed, but until you found Titan's Mitts or the flippers, it really wasn't going to help you in terms of progression. So you had to eke out this win, Azza. So that puts you to 10-4. You have one race to go against ACM, and Prier also has one race to go. So right now, even if you were to lose, the worst you could do is tie with Prier if he beats ACM. So going into this last race that you have against ACM and the last one that Prier has against ACM, how are you feeling?
This was pretty much the best case scenario for me that I could imagine some days ago.
I think you've got Keysanity tomorrow, is that correct? How do you feel about Keysanity as a mode?
Keysanity is cool. I mean, from the different variations, I think Keysanity is definitely my favorite, the one I played the most for sure.
All right. Well, Azaz, any final thoughts before we wrap up shop here?
Well, I think nothing else. Just thank you all for handling the restream, everyone who was involved, and thank you everyone for watching as well.
Well, thank you very much, Az. All right, so that's gonna wrap up shop here for us. We've still got some racing to go today. We're all of the Zelda Randomizer tournament action is going to be here on the ALTTPR channel, as there's a lot of other tournaments going on the Speed Gaming Network. So at 2:30 Eastern, we have an inverted seed between Kern and Thalane on ALTTP Randomizer 2. At 3:30 back here on the main ALTTP Randomizer channel, we have an All Dungeons Endomizer between Swerb and Someone 325. That actually, now that I just scrolled down, that Kern Thalane race is actually going to be a doubleheader where it's going to be inverted for the first race, and then at 4:30 right after, it's going to be inverted, but it's also going to be swordless and hard mode. And then at 7:30, we'll have... So the funny thing is we have two doubleheaders, and I don't realize them until I scroll down, because actually Someone and Swerb are going to do and randomized sword hard mode key sanity after their first race. So
hey, Ernie Banks said it best. Let's play two.
Let's do it. And both of those are going to be races 2 and 3 between Kern Thalane and then Swerb and Someone. So that's going to do it here. All right. So this was, I believe, the first time we had Lin being our restreamer. Did a great job taking care of that. And Hagmania, I think this was your first commentary as well. It was certainly a pleasure having you aboard.
Well, thank you. I was so excited to be in this race, and I was glad to have such a seasoned veteran like yourself, Jex, to help me along.
It still feels weird to hear that I'm a seasoned veteran, but yeah, it works out. Also, we have got to give a shout out to our tracker, SiriusX. Did a great job keeping track of all the items for us. So for Lin, for Siriu, for Hagmania, I'm Jex Refi. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next mission.